Job interviews, let's be real, they're tough. Even on a good day, right? They're super nerve-wracking, but they're also a hurdle you have to clear to get that great new job. But what if you could walk into your next one feeling totally in control? So how do you do that? How do you turn all that anxiety into actual confidence? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. The secret isn't to pretend you're not nervous. That never works. It's about replacing those nerves with solid preparation. I'm going to give you a roadmap that will leave you feeling empowered and, yeah, ready to absolutely crush it. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to build your foundation. That's the homework phase. Then we'll get into rehearsing your performance so you're polished. After that, we'll master all the little logistical details to get rid of any day of stress. And finally, we'll tie it all together into a winning strategy. Ready? Let's go. Okay, first step, building your foundation. Look, everything starts right here. You can't just wing an interview and hope for the best. Solid prep is the bedrock of confidence. And trust me, it tells the hiring manager that you are taking this seriously. And there are really 3 non-negotiable steps here. First, you've got to research the company. What do they actually do? What's their mission? Second, reread that job description. I mean, really read it until you know it backwards and forwards. And third, you have to know why you want this job. Why this company? Why now? Because you will be asked and you need a great answer ready to go. Seriously, think of that job description as your cheat sheet. The company is laying out exactly what they're looking for. Your whole job in the interview is to connect the dots between what they need and what you've done. You want to use their keywords right back at them in your answers. But before you can do any of that, you have to make sure your resume actually gets seen by a human. And that brings up a huge problem. Get this. A staggering 75%, 75 of resumes are automatically rejected by these things called applicant tracking systems, or ATS. These are the bots that scan your resume before a person ever does, and they toss out 3/4 of them just because of simple formatting mistakes or missing keywords. It's a massive hidden roadblock. And this is where today's sponsor, mobilecv.ai, comes in. It's literally built to solve this exact problem. It's this really cool AI tool that takes any document you have, like your LinkedIn profile, and turns it into a perfectly formatted ATS-friendly resume in like 60 seconds. It uses these super professional LaTeX templates, which means the formatting is always flawless. It even helps you write a cover letter that's tailored to the job. And the best part? There's no annoying subscription. You just get 3 free credits to start. It's a total game changer for getting past those bots. Okay, so your foundation is solid, your resume is bot-proof. Now it's time to turn all that knowledge into a polished, confident performance. This is where the real practice begins. So first things first, go over all those classic interview questions. You know the ones. Tell me about yourself, what's your biggest weakness, all of those. Then, and this is so important, you have to practice your answers out loud. Yeah, it feels a little weird, but record yourself on your phone. It's the only way you'll catch yourself saying "I'm a lot" or rambling. And finally, grab a friend and do a full-on mock interview. Simulating the real thing is the absolute best way to build that muscle memory and feel comfortable. And remember this, an interview is a 2-way street. So when they get to the end and ask, "So, do you have any questions for us?" you should never, ever say no. That's not just a formality, it's a test. It's your chance to show you're engaged and to actually interview them. Saying, "Nope, I'm good," just screams unprepared. You've got to have at least 2 or 3 smart questions locked and loaded. And don't just ask about vacation days. Ask good questions. Questions about performance, about challenges, about growth. Things like, what does the review process look like? Or what are the biggest challenges someone in this role will face in the first 90 days? Here's a pro tip. Ask a question that proves you did your research. Mentioning a recent project or a news article about them, that shows you're not just looking for a job, you're interested in this job. All right, we're on to the final stretch of prep. This section is all about mastering the logistics. We're handling all the small stuff ahead of time so that on the day of, the only thing you have to worry about is having a great conversation. Okay, the big question, what to wear? Your goal is simple. Look professional and show you're serious. Now, you don't need a 3-piece suit for a tech startup, but here's the rule of thumb. It is always, always better to be a little overdressed than even slightly underdressed. Being underdressed says you don't care. Being overdressed just says you take this opportunity seriously. So when in doubt, level up. Business casual should be your absolute minimum. And a couple of final logistical must-dos. 1, plan your commute. If it's in person, do a trial run the day before. Seriously, arriving late and stressed out is a recipe for disaster. 2,
Always bring extra copies of your resume. Not one, but like 3 or 4. You never know if someone else is going to pop into the meeting, and being the person who can hand them a fresh copy, that makes you look incredibly prepared.
So let's bring it all home. What's the big takeaway here? When you boil it all down, it's really a simple 3-part strategy. Here it is. Your success plan comes down to 3 Ps. First, prepare. Do your homework, know the company, and know your own story. Second, practice. Turn all that knowledge into a confident, polished performance. And third, plan. Handle all the little details to get rid of any last-minute stress. When you nail these 3 things, you're not just a passive participant answering questions, you're in the driver's seat. And that right there is the ultimate antidote to interview anxiety. So now are you ready to impress? Because by following this roadmap, you're not just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. You are actively creating the conditions for your own success. You've put in the work, you know what you're worth, and now you're ready to walk in there and show them. You've got this.